The opening minutes of this 2026 World Cup group stage clash were defined by a relentless series of throw-ins, heavy tackles, and tactical fouls, as both teams fought to establish even a few inches of usable space. The combination of intense heat and a punishing physical pace took an immediate toll. Players were forced to the sidelines for hydration and medical checks just minutes into the match, as the conditions began to dictate the rhythm of play. The initial stalemate broke during a chaotic scramble in the box. Ignoring the weight of the moment, he calmly converted the penalty, giving Switzerland a 1-0 advantage and igniting their supporters in the stands. This one-goal lead created a psychological trap. It offered the Swiss a sense of control that wasn't yet earned, while forcing Qatar into a state of total, desperate survival. Rather than retreating to protect their lead, Switzerland chose to push for a knockout blow. They committed numbers forward immediately, hunting for the second goal that would effectively end the contest. The first chance fell to Denis Zakaria, who found space in the final third and unleashed a low right-footed drive toward the bottom corner. Only a brilliant save kept the scoreline at 1-0. Switzerland kept the pressure high. Ruben Vargas pounced on a loose ball inside the penalty area and fired a shot from close range, but a sliding Qatari defender managed a vital block just before it reached the net. This heat map illustrates the match's one-sided nature. The glowing concentration of Swiss possession is entirely pinned inside Qatar's penalty area. However, 3 markers appear, representing failed attempts, including Elvedi's deflected strike. Despite this total territorial control, the scoreboard remained unchanged. This is the efficiency gap in action. It occurs when a team's overwhelming statistical dominance in possession and territory is rendered useless because they cannot convert high-quality chances into goals. As the second goal failed to materialize, the Swiss began to show visible frustration. The match slowed into a war of attrition, with the physicality increasing as Switzerland struggled to break the Qatari resolve. Discipline began to erode. Yellow cards were shown to both Jossam Gabr and Denis Zakaria, as the intensity of the tackles rose and the flow of the match was repeatedly interrupted by fouls. Qatar's head coach, Boualem Khoukhi, recognized the growing fatigue in the Swiss ranks and prepared a tactical countermeasure to shift the state of the game. He injected fresh energy by substituting Ahmed Fatih and Karim Boudiaf, along with Ahmed Al-Aldin, refreshing his team's ability to cover ground and challenge for second balls. The mechanical advantage of these changes is clear. Fresh players allow a team to instantly transition from a compressed defensive block into an expansive, rapid counterattack that forces the opponent to sprint back toward their own goal. By utilizing physical endurance and perfectly timed rotations, Qatar turned a one-sided siege into a situation where Switzerland's inability to score left them vulnerable to a single decisive strike. In the final stages, Switzerland finally abandoned their attack. They retreated into a defensive posture, attempting to manage possession and protect their narrow 1-goal lead as the clock ran down. Qatar responded with a desperate final surge. They used their fresh substitutes to win advanced throw-ins and pushed more players forward, effectively forcing Switzerland to defend deep in their own territory. Then, deep in the closing minutes, the momentum shifted permanently. Homam Ahmed delivered a sweeping cross into the Switzerland penalty area, perfectly placed between the defenders and the goalkeeper. Boualem Khoukhi rose above the Swiss defense and powered a header into the net. The equalizer left the Swiss squad paralyzed, as their entire afternoon of dominance was erased in a single moment. The stadium erupted as the Qatari players and supporters celebrated wildly, rescuing a point at the very end of a match they spent mostly defending. Switzerland's failure to translate 90 minutes of territorial control into a safety cushion turned a single defensive lapse into a fatal vulnerability. At the World Cup, dominance without conversion is a debt that eventually has to be paid.